Welcome to Technology Key class. This is the part 3 of Server 2019. Let's move ahead and add roles and features. Before that, I will recap about the previous video. I have installed Windows Server 2019 with a requirement and keeping in mind that what's new and why it's required. So in this video, I will add DNS, the first and the most important feature in server installation, that is DNS. DNS, that is domain name system. It is one of the standard suite of protocol. The DNS client and DNS server together provide computer name to IP address, mapping name resolution services to computers and users. DNS can be installed either from Server Manager or PowerShell. This is new server, so I'll be adding Active Directory. If I add Active Directory with DNS, so it will install automatically with Active Directory as the global catalog server for the forest and domain. Now, what is global catalog? It is a feature of Active Directory domain controllers that allows for a domain controllers to provide information of any object in the forest. For example, if I take any domain, that is technology@domain.com, any user who log in, it will search in global catalog to identify the user account with matching name. There are so many new updates which is on Windows from 2016 and 2019 on DNS. So I'm not going too much into that, but yeah, there are new updates like DNS policies, DANE, that is DNS based authentication of name entities, PowerShell support, etc. So there are so many new updates which has come up with the security as well. So first I'll just go into the server 2019 and add DNS, and then I'll show you all the features. So this is the server. You can install from configure this local or from add roles and features. So I'll click on add and roles, and next I want to go to role based feature. Okay, so this is the IP and machine name, DNS, the features already added. Okay, this is the prom I need to restart and the IP address which I change. So I'll restart later on. Next, this is the optional. If you want to add any framework, you can do that. Next, then all the information about DNS, and I will install. So it will take some time. I will pause this video and I will come back once it starts. Okay, so the installation is done. Now I will close and I'll go to the DNS. Okay, yeah, it's finished. So from tools, I can open DNS Manager, and I wanted to show you a few things about where you can check any error, like in machine you can see the event viewer. So the same thing you can monitor through DNS. So from here, this is not the DNS, this is not the domain. Once I'll restart, then it will show the exact name of the DNS. So let me show you a few things about how you can see if there is any error in DNS. So there are a few options like event logging, monitor, debug logging, then advanced root hints, which I will show you later on this video. So event logging, you will get few options like if you want to see any errors, warnings, only errors, or all the events. I normally would like to keep all the events. So you can choose any of the option. The second is debug logging, where you can say the outgoing and the incoming. You can select any of the option with the protocol UDP, TCP, and monitoring, which I'm going to discuss on this query later on this video. In advanced tab, yeah, you can keep this like round robin. So there are so many options in DNS manager. Zones, that is DNS zone. What is DNS zone? When a web browser needs to find the IP address for a hostname such as tkc.com, it performs a DNS lookup, essentially a DNS zone check, and is taken to the DNS server that manages the DNS zone for that hostname. This server is called the authoritative name server for the domain. The authoritative name server then resolves the DNS lookup by providing the IP address or other data for the requested hostname. Now I'll show you the forward and the reverse lookup zone. So when client asks what is IP address of tkc.com, a domain, on its query, the DNS server then look up in the column match the data, and this resulting in address the IP address as the answer. The process of finding an IP address based on the host name in DNS is called forward lookup, and the reverse lookup is opposite of forward, where it needs to find host name based on IP address. So this is how the forward and reverse lookup zone created. Now I'll go ahead and create one zone. Let me go ahead. Now I can see there are 4 zones, that is primary, secondary, stub, and AD integrated zone. So what is primary zone? It stores master copy of zone data in a local file. Secondary, copy of a primary zone that is hosted on another server but cannot store in ADDS, that is Active Directory. Stub zone, this DNS server must have network access to the remote DNS server to copy the authoritative name server information about the zone. And the last, when you store a primary zone in ADDS, the zone type is changed from primary to AD integrated. So it will get integrated into Active Directory. This is the most important topic, that is DNS queries. It is also known as DNS request. It is demand for information sent from a user's computer to DNS server. I will go to the system and show you the query. There are the 2 options. You can go to the properties. Now this is first the simple, and the second is the recursive query is when client directly gets the IP address of a domain by asking name server to perform complete translation. But how it works, I will show you through browsers. I will go to any of the browser. I will type the link, this is the YouTube link, in the address bar. My computer does not know that the IP address for this link, so it sends a request to the user's DNS resolver. The resolver does not know the IP address of this link, so it will query one of the root DNS servers. I will show you the root servers in DNS. The root server know the location of all the .com. They do not know the IP address of this link, so they return the location of the .com servers. One of the query reaches the .com, it will find the authoritative DNS server of this link and will reply to the resolver with that server. The resolver will send a query to the authoritative DNS server of the domain and will resolve it. The authoritative DNS server of the domain will check within its database and will find an entry for this YouTube link which has an IP address. This time resolver will know the IP address for this link and will send the result to the user's computer. DNS forwarding. DNS forwarder sends name queries of external domains to a remote DNS server outside of its local network for resolution. When the DNS server receives a name query, it attempts to resolve this query using its primary zone, secondary zone, and finally its cache in that order. If the name query cannot be resolved using its local zone data or cache, then it will forward the query to the DNS server designated as a forwarder. If this fails, it will contact DNS server specified in its root hints. So this is the DNS forwarding. There's another type of DNS forwarding, that is conditional forward, which forward queries to specific domain names instead of forwarding all queries. In DNS forwarding, I have used the word cache. Now DNS cache temporarily store the information about previous DNS lookups on a machine or web browser. You can check through command go to the command and just ipconfig space slash display DNS. You will, all DNS list will display, and the other, if you want to clear, you can go to the DNS manager and right click, you can clear the cache, or you can just type the command ipconfig space slash flush DNS, which will clear all the DNS cache. DNS is a very huge topic, but I will just end up in the last topic, that is security. Now, DNS sec is one of the DNS security. This security created to add a layer of security to DNS. Same way that HTTPS and TLS certificate add a layer of security to ordinary website traffic to help ensure that the content of web services being written are authenticate. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be uploading more videos on Windows Server 2019.